Okay, guys, we are just having a look at the So Can You test, and we're trying to understand what we're really trying to achieve here. And it is to get really clear on what you exactly want and boiling that down to written career fulfillment criteria. Now, the importance of this is because, as we discussed before, who you are and what work's going to be right for you is a very complicated process. And So Can You helps us to get really good data about that, about you and the labour market, and putting it together. That's why we're using it. So over 100 traits, those are particular parts of your personality and who you are across beliefs, values, attitudes. 700 careers and more have been put together to ensure that we can get good data very quickly. Now, what we want to do when we look through all of your reports is to have in mind, how do we get very clear about your career fulfillment criteria? Now, there are a few ways in which we could do that. Now, these are the dimensions of fit that So Can You uses. And when we're going to come on to exactly how they use these in a second, and I'll be using just someone who's gone through the process with me before, called Mercedes. And this is really just to highlight again the complexity that we see. It's all of these kind of factors, let me zoom in this for you, that we're trying to get the match. And we are trying to put together your career fulfillment criteria to get that match. Now, let's go straight to Mercedes's report. So when you take these reports, I'll be able to have a look at this and to discuss any of the points that you're not clear about. And let's just dive into what I mean by their version of career fulfillment criteria. So we see Mercedes's best match that she liked is an astronomer. And if we then click into your compatibility, we'll see that they give you a match, and quite a detailed, granular match on these things here: interests, personality, workplace, history and goals, and competitiveness. They also give you an overall score. So this is one way in which we can do it. Now, I think that there is a better, clearer way of you being able to make decisions. And I say that because I think there's quite a lot of overlap between all of these 5 areas. And it doesn't really matter whether there is or not. It's simply a matter of what is going to be the best way for you to get clarity. So here's one option, and I'm going to present to you another option that I quite like. And it's a way in which you will be able to get very clear very quickly. So let me bring that up for you. Now, spreadsheets might put you off, but let me just give you an idea of exactly what I'm trying to do here, building on the career fulfillment score that you had, which was comparing where you're at in your work and where you want to be, and looking specifically at the change. So we have your goals, which is the life fit that we were talking about, and it's also all these other things that you see here. And I put these together because often there's a trade-off between all of those. Next is your engagement. So that's largely what we're talking about, is what we're talking about, your tasks in the career fulfillment score. And we'll go into all of these in detail, but ultimately the test is, am I engaged in this work that I'm doing through all of these factors that we've talked about before? Next, thinking. What are you actually thinking about on the job? And breaking that down into the information input. In any job, you're getting information in from somewhere, and then you have to process it. Okay? And all of those ways are ways in which you can process data. We're doing it all of the time. You will have a preference, and So Can You will help to reveal that. And then we have to produce an output that is valuable to the person that we're working for, or when we're working for ourselves. And there's particular equipment we might use for that. For example, what you're seeing now, a spreadsheet and how to do stuff in that. There's going to be specific technical skills for some jobs. Okay, an example is if you want to be a railway engineer and you're going to have to know how to use single gauge tracks in southwestern trains. Next, people. So this is what you're doing with people on the job, and lots and lots of ways in which you're going to be doing that. You've got this long list, it's preloaded. You can add your columns as you go. Now the environment there is a breakdown of the team that you're going to be in and the organization that you're at. I've lumped it together because often we're going to make decisions on those things together. And then finally there's your interests, which is the actual subject matter knowledge that you're interested in. Now, I know it's a spreadsheet. I know that these things can put a lot of people off. And that's why I'm giving you options. I want you to consider this one. Now, what I think is the advantage of doing this is the granular level of detail that we get to and the ability to quantify what we want in our career. So for example, here's one I made earlier. And later on, we'll build out your career fulfillment criteria, which could be something like this. And let's say we have 3 options, which are our best ones. And in a very short space of time, we can weight our particular options. We can then give it a rough weighting for each one of them out of 4. What do we think it is? Which will then automatically produce a percentage across all of our different options. And when we do that for all of them, we're eventually going to get a score, and we're going to get a chart that will actually be filled in once you do these. And that allows you to be clear about the decisions that you're making and why. Now, we'll talk more about decision making and the best process to do it. My favorite in complex decision making like this is that we get the data. We get really clear using career fulfillment criteria. We think hard about what's actually important. And then we step back and we use our gut and our intuition in order to sense check that. Because that's really a powerful way to understand which way we want to go. But we have to get the data. This is one way to do it. It's not the only way, as I say. Other options are the flower. Now, this is an adaptation of the classic, what color is your parachute? It's updated and better. And you can fill out those petals as we go. If you prefer this kind of process, that's great. Your values, your achievements, your skills, your strengths, your favorite working conditions and environment, knowledge and experience. I mean, this is another way. And then we've got our success criteria right in the middle there. We can use that. That's fine. If this serves you, that's fine. If just a piece of paper serves you to get really clear, that's fine also. So what I would encourage you to do now is just pick one for the process of getting good data and insights as we go through So Can You. All right. Next video coming up.